Our top story now, President Donald Trump has floated a federal gas tax holiday to help bring gas prices down. Congress would have to sign off on it, and members of both parties have signaled openness and resistance to the idea. Karen Kaifa is in Washington with a breakdown.
Each gallon of regular gas carries an 18.4-cent federal tax. Each gallon of diesel, 24.4 cents. As gas prices soared due to the ongoing war in Iran, President Trump this week floated temporarily scrapping those taxes.
These are essentially line items that that stations are paying at the retail level, meaning that it could be a relatively quick pass-through once this tax is suspended, if that does happen.
Congress would need to sign off on the move and has signaled a challenge.
Americans need real relief. 18 cents isn't enough.
If you lifted that, does that ultimately get passed on to the consumer, to the customer, to the buyer out there, or does it get sucked up in the supply chain somewhere?
According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, crude oil is the most influential factor in gas pricing, and 18% of the price consumers pay is taxes, not just federal, but state and local, too. A Penn Wharton analysis found suppliers likely wouldn't pass along all of the savings from a federal gas tax holiday to consumers, and gas prices would only drop an average of 13.2 cents per gallon. So a household filling a 15-gallon tank once a week between June 1st and October 1st would save a total of about $35. Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis for GasBuddy, says a drop in prices could eventually put upward pressure on demand and hike prices further.
Supply is challenged because of what's happening with the Strait of Hormuz. There's less supply available, and reducing prices generally will stimulate demand.
The federal gas tax also funds the Highway Trust Fund, which helps build and maintain the nation's highways, bridges, and mass transit, and is already running at a deficit.
And joining us now is Karen Kaifa. Thank you so much for being here.
You bet.
Karen, does it appear that the federal gas tax holiday has any momentum right now on Capitol Hill?
Well, it truly has been a mixed reaction on Capitol Hill. You've got some Democrats that are for it and also against it, and some Republicans that are for it and some Republicans that are against it. One of the reasons is that nobody really wants to get in the way of the idea of consumers saving some money in a midterm election year where affordability is the buzzword. So very cautious on this so far. But where there is hesitation are two main reasons. First, there are lawmakers who believe that the full 18 cents would not get passed along to consumers, that it would get sucked up in the supply chain somewhere, and then would not necessarily be the big savings that consumers are hoping for. And two, they're also very worried about the money it would take away from the Highway Trust Fund, which goes to maintain roadways, mass transit, infrastructure across the country. That fund is already running at a deficit, and taking this tax away and the revenue away, even for a few months, could really take a toll.
Yeah, Karen, and you know what's interesting is that number, or the data that was released this morning. What do the new numbers in inflation mean for consumers right now?
Yeah, so yesterday, Marangeli, we got the consumer price index. Today, we got the producer price index, which looks at what it costs for businesses to put items on the shelves. And the news was not good, because this number typically is kind of the indicator of what consumers can expect over the next few months. The producer price index, big increase from just last month, 6% year over year. We haven't seen a number like that in about 4 years or so since the big inflation squeeze in 2022. Businesses are spending more just to get items to consumers. Ultimately, they will be passing that cost along to consumers if fuel and oil and shipping costs remain high. So that's something to be on the lookout for. Yesterday, when we saw consumer prices, there was an uptick in everything from airfares to coffee, and of course, gas prices is a big driver of that inflation number as well. So certainly an indicator that this pinch is not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, and consumers feel it, or viewers feel it as well. Karen Kaifa, CNN, thank you so much for joining us today.